It is no secret that the open beta for Battlefield 6 is incredibly popular right now. I mean, just this beta has reached double 2042 peak player count. Double. Sure, there are some haters, but there's always gonna be. But although this open beta is super great, an open beta exists in order for DICE to collect data, so they can make the game better. And therefore, I have collected all of the issues, all of the bugs, all of the glitches, everything I've found, heard, experienced, and so on in this video. So make sure to like the video and share it to get as much information out as possible, but let's get right into what we got on our hands here. To start off with the gunplay, which is probably the most relatable thing for most players. Some guns are pretty overpowered. I'd say especially the shotgun, but also the starter SMG, for example, the SGX. It lasers people and it outperforms multiple ARs even at range, and it's just super strong. If you put a laser on that thing and the run and gun attachment that makes you able to shoot while sprinting, you will kill everyone you encounter, unless they have a shotgun. The TTK is pretty fast, and that's fine, but maybe a little bit too fast at close range. Sometimes I don't even realize that I'm losing health until I'm already dead. Maybe just put down a slight notch. Now for my Recon players out there, the sniper sweet spot. I see a lot of people praising this, I see a lot of people hating on this. We know this mechanic from BF1, and true, it is fun to play as, but it's not very fun to play against. When you can't peek anything or flank anyone without 7 sniper glins looking directly at you. I think sniping should be fun and enjoyable, but not kill farming. Another YouTuber called Enders had a pretty good idea, or came up with a pretty good suggestion to fix this issue, that if you just make suppression on sniper rifles stronger, it could be more balanced. So that means when you are gunning at a sniper at a distance, they will be suppressed and won't be able to aim as precise, which will allow for flanks and peaks and just overall more team plays. So that's a good middle ground. I feel like that could be a solution to this. For the LMGs, personally, I think it's pretty balanced. They're pretty good at mid-range, but you won't outgun people at close range. And I see people talking about this as a bad thing, but I mean, it's an LMG. I feel like that's exactly what they're supposed to be. You're not supposed to run around close quarters with an LMG. For me personally, I think they're pretty good. I think they're balanced. I think they are as they should be. The class, gadgets, and abilities. A ton of people are running around with the TUGS and spotting everyone, putting them down in corners and the houses and everything, especially on the battery map, the one that's based in Gibraltar. But the problem is that you just die all the time by people knowing exactly where you are, because no one is shooting the TUGS. And that is due to the low visibility and low audio cues. I think they need to be a little bit louder so that you can hear when you're near one, and the same goes for spawn beacons. Although I don't think those are too much of a problem, they can just be pretty hidden at times. But the engineer is able to have 2 launchers right now, and I have been enjoying that a lot, killing 6 or 7 vehicles every single game on the Liberation Peak map. But it is obviously overpowered, and I'm pretty sure that DICE has already said that it will not be a thing in the full game, so that is already kind of fixed. And playing a support, you can literally run around with the defibs, just insta-revive your entire team, and I think that it is a bit too spammy, and you very often survive getting revived, even when it's in the middle of the war chaos. I think that the revive should take a little bit longer with the defibs and not let you sprint away instantly. Otherwise, it's super hard to take over objectives, because every time you killed someone, they just get insta-revived and they're full health and shooting you again. So I think it would benefit the game if the support reviving was a little bit tweaked. And I am very excited to see Assault's new gadget when they come out in the full game, like the ladder and stuff. The sledgehammer, I don't know if the Assault class will have that hammer, but I'm pretty sure it will. But at this point, there's not too much to say about Assault, other than it obviously should not have 2 primary weapons at all. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I do not know who got that idea to put 2 weapons into the hands of the Assault. Now, moving on to vehicles. Tanks, I think, probably are a little bit too strong. I mean, people are just laying on top of them and repairing. Like, just look at this picture. This is mad. I mean, it is kind of Battlefield-ish. Like, this is a typical Battlefield moment, and the repair itself is a little bit too efficient. I feel like you repair a tank really quickly, and it's hard to kill them sometimes, especially when there's 1 or 2 people on top of it just sitting there repairing. Now, I also realized that the tank itself has a repair feature, or an ability, but it seems that you're only able to use that when your tank is at critical health. So that means probably 10% health or less. And at that point, you're just 1-shot dead with an RPG or 1 C4. So I feel like you should always have the ability to use your repair feature, but kind of just nerf the repair tool a little bit. Moving on to air vehicles, the helis are kind of ass in my opinion. They move very slow. They feel like they have a weak engine or something. When you try to correct your path and you try to pull up, if you're about to hit the ground or something like that, it won't really move. It will just keep going down. I can't count on one hand how many times I've just flew straight into a mountain cliff and I'm just dragging my mouse all the way across my keyboard and I just cannot turn this helicopter around. So I think those should get tweaked a little bit. Maybe I'm just used to the very fast helicopter movement from 2042, but I think there has to be some middle ground with this. And it also dies incredibly fast, especially to the jet. And now that we are on the jet, this damage on the minigun is insane. It just insta-kills the helicopters and other jets. I think they just need to overhaul the air vehicles in general. I think they need to go back and look at the previous games and figure out what they did right and what they did wrong and find a middle ground with this. Generally, the game runs fine, but it's not the best optimized, I feel like. It runs decent on my PC, but I have a 3090 Ti, and I know a couple friends of mine who have lower spec PCs who are coming from Battlefield 2042, and they're getting like 50 frames or less or something like that. And obviously this is a beta, and it will improve, I know that, but I feel like it's still important to note it down so DICE is aware. Another thing is the Kernel anti-cheat that are stopping a bunch of people from even playing the game. I have a personal friend who has to reset his entire drive because it runs on MRB instead of GPT or some weird stuff like that. I'm no expert in this field, but obviously that's super unlucky for him. As my research says, it's very few people who has to do like this type of big procedure just to play the game, and I think it's kind of a calculated risk because we need a really strong anti-cheat. Nothing can kill a game like cheaters, right? So we need to avoid that at all costs. So yeah, not too much more to say about this topic. Yeah, it sucks for some people, but I think it is worth it in the end. You might have also experienced this thing where you run over some rubble on the ground or run over a staircase or something like that, and your soldier will just fling in the air or do some small jumps or some weird movements, stuff like this, which in turn will mess up your aim completely, which can cause you to die, which is a bit frustrating, but I'm sure they are aware of this, and it's probably just some model features with the new destruction and all that stuff. Now, other players in your lobby also seem to be very glitchy and like switching around when you aim at them with a sniper rifle or something like that, especially when they run around corners or are jumping on something like that. But it seems to just be a visual, so their hitbox will still be the same. So all in all, every single bug, every single issue or whatever is so small compared to what we're used to from the previous Battlefield, and best of all, they can be fixed almost instantly. It's generally just optimizations and decisions on whether or not a thing should be in the game or not. So for example, Assault having 2 weapons, that's a very easy fix for DICE. So the things that are wrong with Battlefield is so easily fixable that it doesn't really matter as such. We just need to tell them and they'll fix it. But if you have experienced anything else, any other bugs or glitches, let me know in the comments so we can update DICE on everything that needs to be changed and get as much information out about the glitches or bugs or things that are wrong as we possibly can. But all this said, I am loving this beta. It's amazing. I'm having so much fun with my old friends that I used to play the old Battlefields with, and I know a lot of other people are as well. It has so many great features and moments, and that's why I also made a video about everything that Battlefield is doing right and all the good things that are in this beta. So be sure to check that video out. I'll put it right here on the screen for you. Thank you for watching so much as always. I'm so grateful for the incredible recent support on these videos. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.